How's it going, guys? Preston here, Citizen Response. Got another video coming to you guys today talking about this controversial little gun right here. This is the Ruger LCP MAX, the continuation of Ruger's LCP line. Some people love it, some people hate it. Today I'm going to tell you my testing evaluation and my thoughts about whether this is suitable for carry.
I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send? Here am I. Send me."
Diving right into it, there are plenty of other videos that talk about all the stats, dimensions, and everything like that. But all you need to know, this gun is absolutely tiny, even with the extended magazine that holds 12 rounds. So you can have 13 rounds total in this tiny little gun. This style of gun is the zero excuse to not carry style of gun, which isn't necessarily why you should pick it, but I will say it fills that role extraordinarily well. Just for the size factor alone, I'm not really a big pocket carry guy at all, but with the right pants, the right setup, if they're not too tight, you absolutely could shove this little gun in your pocket. And if you had the flush fitting mag, which I don't have because I don't use it, you could easily have a 10+1 tiny little micro gun you could carry in your pocket. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in the considerations and roles for this gun. But first, let's talk about why I've been testing it, how I've been carrying it, and the reliability that I've had. My reasoning for having this gun, I originally bought this gun for my wife. She wasn't the biggest fan. I ended up getting her a SIG P238. She loves that gun. So I kind of just adopted it. And in terms of my injuries, as some of you know on the channel, this gun is clear, by the way. I kind of wrecked up both my shoulders at the police academy. And so I'm not even halfway through that recovery process. So for me, having a tiny little gun that I could actually manipulate the slide, I wasn't strong enough. I didn't have enough my shoulder strength and arm strength back. I could not rack the slide back on a P365 even. This was the only gun I owned besides her 238 that I could actually rack the slide and manipulate the gun. So this very quickly became my only carry option for the guns I already owned. The reason I have this Arma Laser TR39 on here is because for the longest time, I did not have the strength to raise the gun up to my eye line, and I still cannot get it completely up to my eye line. So I was relegated to having to do sort of a pseudo compressed ready hip fire type of thing. And I liked the option of having a reference. So this laser is an aiming point for me. And as you can see, it's touch activated. So once my middle finger comes in contact with the bottom of the trigger guard, the laser is activated. I actually think this is really cool. I hadn't played with lasers ever on pistols before, but I think for this gun in my particular context, it made sense. Let's talk about how I carried it. This is an unfortunate situation. The only holster that will adapt this gun with this light, because no one makes a holster for it except one guy, and it was terrible. It was completely unusable. I could not get the gun out of the Kydex any way I tried. Is this little foam holster that I got on Amazon, which I would never recommend anyone ever carrying in one of these, but I did do my due diligence in testing this before carrying it. There's absolutely no way that I can pull the trigger trying as hard as I can with this setup. And the clip is just barely big enough to fit over my 1.5 inch Tenacore Zero belt. Has this little optional wraparound clasp thing. Keep in mind too, I did not have a lot of strength to be able to break the retention on a Kydex anyways. So this actually worked very, very well for a compromise carry for me. This setup is what you're looking at as I literally could not carry anything else except this. So this was an acceptable compromise for me for the time being. Let's talk about the reliability of this gun. I've really only shot it with the 12 round mags just for the size of the gun. I like getting that full firing grip, and it's so tiny it didn't have any issues with concealment for me. Now, getting straight into it, I would not carry hollow points with this gun, and that's not just for the reliability issues I had. There are people a lot smarter than me who have done a lot more testing than me, and out of a barrel this short, 380, most hollow points do not meet sufficient penetration. Now, real quick on that, penetration is significantly more important than expansion for pistols. Penetration is really the only thing that matters. So really, besides a few very expensive specific hollow points on the market, this gun will only reach the 12 to 18, I think, FBI standard Lucky Gunner has all that ammo testing on their website. For me, I just use ball ammo. I carry it with ball ammo. Now, I would never do that with basically any other gun, but specifically for 380, the only way you're going to get actual decent penetration is by carrying ball ammo, and that's all I really cared about. So in terms of reliability, it doesn't like hollow points. This thing hated almost every hollow point I ran through it. I ran SIG, I ran Hornady, I ran Sierra, I ran all kinds of different hollow points, and it would not reliably feed basically any hollow point that I gave it. So that's something to consider. Now with ball ammo, this thing runs like a champ. I've probably put at least 500 rounds through this gun with ball ammo, and I know that it's not really a high round count for me by my standard, but for this gun, this is not a high volume of fire gun, right? I don't train often with this gun. Now I'm at the point where I can carry a full-size gun again, or for me, full-size 365 line compared to this. So I probably will relegate this to very niche use gun. But if you are interested in carrying something like this, I would shoot at least 100 rounds of whatever ball ammo you want. And on that, it ran Monarch is the ammo that I buy mostly because it's at local academy. It's pretty cheap. Monarch brass case, this thing eats it up all day. Federal, it runs just fine. Blazer, it runs just fine. The only ammo it hated was Fiocchi. I don't know why, but this gun would choke up every few shots with Fiocchi ball ammo. So maybe test it in yours, or just get a cheaper ball ammo and run it for yourself before you carry this gun. In terms of the shootability, it's a tiny 380, but I don't think it's super snappy or hard to shoot at all for the intended use of this gun, which is a deep carry, deep concealment type of gun. Can you get accurate hits out to 20, 25 yards? Yeah, but it's hard, and I'm not that great at shooting this gun. So to me, this is like a 10 yards and in type of gun, especially with the laser. I've got a parallel 0 on it, and honestly, guys, this laser is hard to see past 5 yards in bright daylight. It really is. I was shooting with it a little bit outside and in a totally open environment on a bright sunny day. You're not going to be able to pick this thing up under stress, I think, outside of 5 yards. But for my particular context, it was good enough. Now, the irons it comes with are just fine. They're all metal irons, which is nice. They're not plastic crap Glock irons. They're like kind of a U-notch shape with a green bead in the front. And they serve just fine for, shooting within 10 yards, which is the context of this gun. Would I recommend this gun for carry? Kind of. I would not recommend this as a primary carry setup. I think you can get away with just a little bit bigger of a gun and you can carry like a P365, which to me is the gold standard for concealed carry. But for specific cases, for specific people, if you're very, very small, you don't have a lot of room for concealment, and you can't tolerate carrying a gun at all, this is a better option to me than not carrying a gun. That's where it fills the void. This is the gun. If you're not going to carry a gun, just carry this. It's better than nothing. With ball ammo, it will get sufficient penetration, and it has enough round capacity. If you load it fully, it's got 13 rounds. It's more than enough to do whatever you need to do for a self-defense situation. I think I would recommend, if you're going to buy this, make sure it works and don't put a high volume of rounds through it. This is just my feeling, I feel like this gun would not hold up over a long period of time shooting thousands of rounds through it. And they're so cheap, just buy a second one. Buy a training one and a carry one, and relegate your carry one. All I'm gonna do is carry it and clean it and shoot it maybe once a year to ensure reliability. That would be my recommendation if you're gonna pick something like this up. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope it was informative, and I hope that it was useful for you. It's kind of interesting, my journey and what I've gone through. Just sharing it with you guys and having to adapt and share my experiences and how I've had to adapt my concealed carry and my training. It's been really interesting, honestly, and I think it's pretty cool getting to share it with you guys. I appreciate everyone's prayers and everyone's kind messages towards me and my family. We've been extremely well provided for through God's people, through the Lord. Our family and friends have come through in a way that's just been absolutely amazing, and I can see God working through all those people. Just blessed beyond belief. Have a healthy little boy. My son was born. My wife's doing really well. So very grateful for all the blessings that God's given us in our lives. I just wanted to send you off with that positive note. Guys, as always, get out there, train hard, stay safe.